Director of Safety. But before, he was the Director of Maintenance and Technical Support. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Colonel Mdokhwe, you may take your seat. Would like to welcome you, Colonel, to this inquiry by the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee, which is investigating the plane that crashed on 10th of June at Ntongwa and led to the loss of lives of the former Vice President, Dr. Salos Klaus Chilima, and 8 others. In our midst are members of the Ad Hoc Committee and the Secretariat. Allow me to have some self-introductions, starting with the membership on the right and the Secretariat on the left.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson. My name is Mphatso Jones Boti. I'm a Member of Parliament for Lilongwe Mude constituency, and I have already made my initial declaration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Felix Njawala, Member of Parliament for Mwanza Central constituency. Thank you.
Good morning, through you, Chair. My name is Tyrese Moses Mbengo, MP for Ncheuzo Zimvai constituency. Thank you.
Morning, Chair. My name is Mackenzie Chipalamoto Nkwazi. I represent the people of Nkatabe North, and I'm a member of this ad hoc committee. Thank you.
Chair, Dumisano Lindan is my name, representing the people of Zomba Tondwe constituency, and a member of this ad hoc committee. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. My name is James Mpunga. I represent the people of Zomba City South constituency, and I'm a Vice Chairperson of this committee.
Chairperson, my name is Longani Kabich, Chief Clerk Assistant, and the Secretariat, and I'll allow my colleagues to quickly introduce themselves.
Chair, good morning. My name is Ephraim Maipopo, Principal Clerk Assistant. Thank you.
Good morning. Chair, my name is Patrice Nkono, and I'm a consultant with the Secretariat. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and all honorable members. My name is Suzy Okunga, Principal Public Relations Officer. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and all members. I am Endless Nyari, Parliament Secretariat.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Alfred Mangani, Parliament Secretariat.
Good morning, through you, Honorable Chair. My name is Annie Ganyangalazi, Research Officer.
Through Honorable Chairperson, my name is Charles Makalani, Committee Clerk. Thank you.
Through the Honorable Chairperson, I'm Opere Polepole Ali, Committee Clerk. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. I am Louis Maki, Secretariat.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Sipiwe Komwa, Secretariat.
And my name is Walter Nyemelandu Manda, the Chairman of the Ad Hoc Committee and a Member of Parliament for Nsanje Southwest. Before we begin, just to inform you that our session this morning is live on Parliamentary TV and other media houses, on Facebook, as well as on YouTube, and to inquire from you what language you're comfortable to communicate with.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. I'll be comfortable to communicate in both Chichewa and English. Thank you, Chair.
Much obliged. Colonel Julius Clemence Mdokhwe, you served as a Director of Maintenance and Technical Support at Zomba Air Base at the time of the crash. In that capacity, you were responsible for overseeing the quality assurance of all maintenance activities on Air Force aircraft at the base, ensuring compliance with technical standards, certifying airworthiness, and maintaining the complete set of aircraft technical documentation, including the technical log, inspection records, defect register, quality control checklists, and all certification paperwork for MAF Tango 03. The committee has called upon you to give evidence on the role played by your office in the planning and preparations of the late Vice President's flight on 10th June 2024, including maintenance records, inspection records, defects reporting, technical certifications, and airworthiness assessments undertaken on the aircraft before departure. Colonel, you received summons to this effect. Before you respond, we would like you to take an oath. May I request Secretariat to administer oath?
I, Colonel Julius Mdokhwe,
do solemnly swear
by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
So help me God.
Colonel Mdokhwe, you are now free to respond to the summons and present it in the manner you see fit. We have received a copy of your report, and you may proceed. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members of the committee, and thank you, members of the Secretariat. Thank you for welcoming me. As already pointed out by the Chair, I'm Colonel Julius Mdokhwe. I am a certified aircraft maintenance engineer, certified by the European Union Aviation Safety Agency, EASA. I have over 35 years of experience in aircraft maintenance, airworthiness management, and flight safety, having served in the aviation industry since 1991. I completed my basic aircraft maintenance course in the Republic of South Africa and subsequently took advanced aviation maintenance and inspection training, including aircraft maintenance inspector course in Germany and aircraft airworthiness course in Singapore. I also successfully completed a flight safety officer course in the Republic of South Africa. In addition, I have completed several aircraft type conversion courses in Germany and China, enhancing my experience in the maintenance and airworthiness management of various aircraft types. Throughout my career, I have held key technical and leadership appointments within the Malawi Air Force, contributing significantly to aircraft maintenance oversight, airworthiness assurance, quality management, and flight safety. When the accident happened, I was serving as the Director of Aircraft Maintenance and Technical Support. I am currently serving as the Director of Flight Safety for the Malawi Air Force since August 2024. I respectively submit this statement to assist the committee in understanding the role played by the Director of Maintenance and Technical Support in relation to the aircraft undertaken by the late State Vice President, Dr. Saul Chilima, on 10 June 2024 on Malawi Air Force Donia 228 aircraft registration MAF T03. The primary responsibility as Director of Maintenance and Technical Support was to ensure that all Malawi Air Force aircraft are properly maintained and retain airworthy. This included overseeing aircraft inspections, maintenance activities, defect management, technical certifications, and compliance with approved airworthiness requirements. Role of my office in the preparation of flights. The involvement of the Directorate of Maintenance in the preparations for flight was centered on ensuring that the flight assigned to missions was technically fit and safe for operation. Before any aircraft is released for flight, maintenance personnel verify that all requirements that is in maintenance have been completed, inspections are up to date, and any reported defects have been properly addressed in accordance with approved maintenance procedures. It is important to note that my office was not responsible for operation aspects of flights such as route planning, weather assessment, flight authorization, mission planning, or decisions made by the flight crew. Our responsibility was limited to ensuring that the aircraft is technically serviceable and airworthy. Aircraft maintenance records. A review of the aircraft maintenance records confirmed that the aircraft had been maintained in accordance with the approved maintenance program. All scheduled maintenance activities had been carried out within the prescribed intervals, and there were no outstanding maintenance requirements that would have prevented the aircraft from operating. The records showed that the aircraft remained within all approved maintenance limitations and was considered serviceable for flight. Aircraft maintenance records. The aircraft had undergone the inspections required under the approved maintenance program. These inspections are designed to verify the condition of the aircraft and to ensure that all systems continue to function as intended. The inspection records available before the Vice President's flight did not identify any condition that would have rendered the aircraft unfit for flight. Defect reporting and rectification. The Malawi Air Force operates a structured system for recording and managing aircraft defects. Whenever a defect is reported, it is assessed by qualified maintenance personnel and appropriate corrective action is taken before the aircraft is returned to service. In circumstances where regulations permit, certain minor defects may be deferred under controlled procedures without compromising safety. The records reviewed prior to the Vice President flight did not indicate the existence of unresolved defect that would have prevented the aircraft from being released for the missions. Technical certification. Aircraft maintenance work is only certified by appropriately authorized and qualified personnel. Before the aircraft is released for flight, the relevant maintenance certifications have to be completed, confirming that the required maintenance actions have been carried out and that the aircraft meets the necessary technical standards for operation. Airworthiness assessment. Airworthiness is a determination that an aircraft conforms to its approved design and is in condition for safe operation. Based on the maintenance records, inspection records, and technical certifications available prior to the Vice President flight, there was no indication that the aircraft was unairworthy. The available documentation demonstrated that the aircraft met the applicable airworthiness requirements and was therefore considered fit for flight. Structural integrity of Dornier 228 aircraft. The assessment of the aircraft structural condition based on certification data and airworthiness engineering principles establishes the following. The Dornier 228-202 has a certified structural life of 29,600 flight hours. At the time of the accident, the aircraft had accumulated only 3,492.2 flight hours. This represented approximately 12% of its certified structural life. Aircraft structural life is determined primarily by fatigue accumulation, measured through flight hours and flight cycles, rather than calendar age. The aircraft remained significantly below its approved fatigue life limits. From a structural airworthiness perspective, the aircraft was operating well within its certified life envelope. I have an annex to this report which can be referred to later, Honorable Chair. Flight recorders. The aircraft involved in the accident, MAF T03, was acquired in June 1988 and was delivered without flight recording equipment. Flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder are classified as optional equipment rather than mandatory installations for military aircraft. The master equipment list, MEL, which serves as the authoritative record of equipment installed on the aircraft at the time of manufacture and delivery, confirms that the aircraft was not equipped with either a CVR or an FDR. I also refer you to the annex which have attached to this report. This is a copy of the master equipment list.
Members don't have it?
No, but it's attached in the, no, Chair, it's attached in the annex.
So it's available to Secretary? Okay, okay, you may proceed.
Thank you, Chair. This position is further supported by the Pilot Operating Handbook, POH, which contains no supplements or amendments indicating installation of such equipment. Honorable Chair, I also refer you to the Annex B of this report. This is a copy of the Pilot's Operating Handbook.
May I request Secretary to print copies of these annexes so that we can refer to them when we are engaging the witness? You may proceed.
Therefore, the available aircraft documentation, therefore, conclusively establishes that the absence of a CVR and an FDR equipment was fully consistent with the aircraft original certification basis. The aircraft configuration was accurately reflected in both the master equipment list and the pilot's operating handbook. Chair, honorable members of the committee, now let me take you to the regulatory status of Malawi Air Force aircraft. The Malawi Air Force aircraft are classified as state aircraft under Article 3 of the Convention on International Civil Aviation, commonly referred to as the Chicago Convention. This is a copy of the Chicago Convention. B, Section 2, Subsection 3 of the Malawi Civil Aviation Act 2017. This is the Malawi Civil Aviation Act of 2017. This act also recognizes state aircraft. As state aircraft, they are not subject to the same civil aviation equipment requirements that apply to commercial aircraft. Notwithstanding this exemption, the Malawi Air Force recognized the safety benefits associated with flight recorders and modern emergency locator transmitters. A decision was therefore made to pursue voluntary installation of these systems on MAF Tango 03 aircraft, being a VIP aircraft. Quotations were obtained for the required equipment and associated aircraft modifications. However, the procurement process could not be completed because the quotation expired before funding could be secured, resulting in the aircraft continuing operations without these upgrades. Here is a copy of the quotation that was acquired at that time. It is important to clarify the regulatory framework governing state-owned aircraft. And for ease of understanding, I've compared it with the system applied to government-owned motor vehicles. Government-owned vehicles, including those used by senior government officials, such as the President, Vice President, Cabinet Ministers, military commanders, and other senior officials, do not normally undergo inspections for a certificate of fitness through the Directorate of Road Traffic in the same manner as privately owned vehicles. Historically, the responsibility for ensuring the roadworthiness and maintenance of government vehicles was performed by the Plant and Vehicle Hire Organization, which we used to call the PVHO, which maintained internal government systems for vehicle inspection, servicing, repairs, and fleet management. Through these internal structures, government vehicles were maintained to prescribed standards without the requirement to obtain a certificate of fitness from the Directorate of Road Traffic. The principle behind this arrangement is that the government maintains its own oversight and accountability mechanisms to ensure that state-owned vehicles remain safe and serviceable. A similar principle applies to state aircraft. Under international aviation law, particularly the Convention on International Civil Aviation, commonly known as the Chicago Convention, military aircraft and other aircraft operated for state purposes are classified as state aircraft. Such aircraft are not subject to the same civil aviation regulatory framework that governs commercial airlines and privately operated civil aircraft. State aircraft are instead regulated through internal governmental and military airworthiness systems established by the state operating the aircraft. These systems include aircraft maintenance programs, technical inspections, airworthiness reviews, quality assurance programs, flight safety management systems, and operational oversight mechanisms. State aircraft are consequently not required to obtain a civil certificate of airworthiness from the Civil Aviation Authority, in the same manner as commercial air transport aircraft. Rather, the operating government department or military organization assumes responsibility for ensuring that the aircraft are maintained and operated in an airworthy condition through its own approved airworthiness management system. Honorable Chair, honorable members, now let me take you through the cabin configuration prior to the Vice President's flight. The presence of reduced passenger seats on the Dornier 228 involved in the Chikangawa accident has a straightforward operational explanation. On 9th June 2024, the aircraft had been tasked to carry the remains of the late Raf Kasambala. To accommodate the casket safely and respectively, seats located in the rear cabin were removed, thereby converting the aircraft into a combination passenger-cargo configuration, which in aviation we shorten it as combi configuration. This reconfiguration created the necessary space for the secure carriage of the casket, while ensuring compliance with aircraft loading, weight, and balance requirements. Following completion of that mission, the aircraft remained in the same approved configuration and subsequently operated this accident flight with a reduced passenger seating capacity. It is important to emphasize that this arrangement was operationally necessary, technically sound, and fully consistent with established aviation practices for a mature aircraft such as the Dornier 228. The reduced seating capacity was therefore not an anomaly, deficiency, or safety concern, but rather a direct consequence of the aircraft operational flexibility and its prior tasking to transport human remains. The aircraft seating reconfiguration could only be carried out at Zomba Air Base. Consequently, had the aircraft been required to return to Zomba from Zuzu for this purpose, the resulting delay would have likely prevented the Vice President from arriving in Zuzu in time to attend the funeral program as scheduled. Let me also mention here, Honorable Chair, members of the committee, that the VIP seats for MAF Tango 03 are not quick change seats. It takes an experienced aircraft technician about 1 hour to fit one chair. They have got 4 mounting points, which you have to use bolts and nuts. So considering the time frame that the Vice President was supposed to be in Zuzu, this reconfiguration could not be carried out. It was not possible to carry out this reconfiguration. One chair takes about 1 hour for an experienced technician. So you cannot only fit one chair in this aircraft. You have to consider weight and balance principles. So you have to fit 2 chairs in the rear cabin, and then in the middle of these 2 chairs is a working table. You have also to fit this working table. So there was a time constraint. This could not be done. That's why the aircraft was left to go to Zuzu in the configuration that it had the previous day. Since the Vice President was against time, he had to meet the schedule in Zuzu. Thank you, Chair. Absence of post-impact fire. For a fire to occur, 3 essential elements must exist simultaneously. There has to be fuel, such as aviation fuel, oxygen in the air, and a secure source of heat or spark to ignite the fuel. For a fire to occur, 3 elements must be available. There has to be fuel, there has to be air, and there has to be a source of heat to ignite the fuel. This is known as the fire triangle. If any one of these is missing, a fire will not occur. This is science. It's proven. In the case of the Donia 228 accident, aviation fuel and atmospheric oxygen were present. However, evidence suggests that there was no sufficient heat source or ignition mechanism capable of igniting the spilled fuel. What happened in this accident? In this accident, the aircraft carried fuel in its wings, so fuel was present at the time of the crash. Oxygen from the air was available, as is always is. Although fuel and oxygen were present, there was no effective source of heat or spark to start the fire. This is the most important point. The engines of the Donia 228 aircraft are mounted on the wings and normally represent the primary source of high temperatures, that is heat, during aircraft operation. During the crash, both engines detached from the aircraft structure. Their separation from the wing sections containing fuel significantly reduced the possibility of fuel ignition. Secondly, the Donia 228 is a high-wing aircraft, meaning that its wings are positioned above the fuselage. These design characteristics influence the crash dynamics. During impact, the lower fuselage absorbed most of the impact forces. The wings where the fuel tanks are located had limited direct impact contact with the ground. Consequently, insufficient heat was generated through structural friction to ignite the spilled fuel. Thirdly, the aircraft electrical system is powered primarily by engine-driven generators. These generators are mounted in the engine. Once the engines stopped and separated during impact, electrical generation ceased immediately. aircraft electrical power was lost and electrical circuits became de-energized. This likely prevented electrical arcing and short-circuit sparks from damaged electrical wiring. The immediate loss of electrical power therefore removed another major potential ignition source. Both engines separated from the aircraft. This is the source of heat on the aircraft. This is one engine. This is another engine. Furthermore, the generators that generate electricity on the aircraft, they are mounted in the engines. But during this crash, the generators also dismounted from the engines. So there was no electrical power on the aircraft. Assessment of engine power at impact. Examination of the wreckage, particularly the condition of the propeller assemblies, indicates that both engines were likely producing power at the time of ground impact. The Dornier 228 is equipped with Honeywell TPE 331 turboprop engines. In the event of loss of engine oil pressure, which is indicative of an engine malfunction or failure, the propeller system is designed to automatically move the blades towards the feathered position. This feature reduces aerodynamic drag by aligning the propeller blades with the airflow. Detailed inspection of the propeller blades revealed extensive bending, twisting, code-wise scrubbing consistent with rotation under power at the time of impact. Furthermore, the propeller blades were not observed in a feathered position. The observed blade deformation is consistent with significant rotation energy being present when the propellers contacted the terrain. Based on this available evidence, the propeller damage signature are consistent with both engines developing power at the time of impact. The absence of feathered propeller blade positions does not support a scenario involving a pre-impact loss of oil pressure and complete power loss. Here are the pictures of the propellers after the crash. Both propellers were not in feathered position, which means the aircraft engines were producing power. The engines were running. Because if the engines were not running, these propellers would have been in a feathered position. Similarly, this is a picture of the other propeller. This propeller is not in feathered position. It is in fine blade angle. Means this engine was producing power when it impacted the ground. Condition of the aircraft wreckage. It is important to note that the image of the wreckage that most members of the public are familiar with is the one that was circulated by various media outlets and social media platforms immediately after the wreckage was discovered. These images depict the aircraft in its original post-impact condition, before any significant recovery or investigative activities had commenced. Following the discovery of the crash site, the most substantial disturbance to the wreckage occurred during the recovery of the accident victims. Due to the severity of the impact, some bodies were trapped within the aircraft structure and could not be removed without cutting open the sections of the fuselage. These actions were necessary to facilitate the safe and dignified recovery of the deceased and were conducted under the prevailing circumstances at the crash site. A further degree of disturbance resulted from the technical examination conducted by investigators from the German Federal Bureau of Aircraft Accident Investigation, BFU. As part of their investigation, the BFU examined and, where necessary, dismantled portions of the wreckage to determine whether there was any evidence of structural failure, system malfunction, or other technical defects that may have contributed to the accident. Following this analysis, the BFU found no evidence of structural failure, system malfunction, or any accident-related technical defect. This is a picture of the BFU conducting the analysis on the leakage. As the officer in charge for the recovery operation, I can confirm that recovery personnel exercised maximum care to preserve the integrity of the wreckage. The only significant alteration made by the recovery team was the removal of the wing and the horizontal stabilizer to enable the wreckage fit into the recovery track for transportation from accident site to Zomba Air Base. Apart from this necessary action, no additional dismantling or disturbance of the wreckage was undertaken by the recovery team. Notification of the missing aircraft. On 10 June 2024, at about 1200 hours, I was summoned to the office of the then Director of Operations, Malawi Air Force, Brigadier General Hudson Kandula, who informed me that the aircraft did not arrive in Zuzu as expected. At around 1300 hours, he convened a meeting involving all officers at Zomba Air Base to discuss the situation and initiate emergency response measures. Formation of emergency response team. At around 1400 hours on 10 June 2024, Brigadier General Harrison Kandula constituted a Zomba Air Base emergency response team comprising the following personnel: Brigadier General Harrison Kandula, Colonel Julius Mdokhwe, that is myself, Major Tonazi Onseka, Captain Ntesa Malamula, Warrant Officer Class 2 Jones Maonga, Sergeant Chifundo Makulu, and Private James Chipanda. The team departed for Lilongwe on the evening of 10 June 2024 and spent the night there in preparation for onward movement to the northern region. On 11 June 2024, the team proceeded to Nzuzu, while Captain Ntesa Malamulo remained in Lilongwe to serve as the air liaison officer for the foreign air crews expected to arrive in support of the search and rescue operation. The team was tasked with assisting the search and rescue operations and assessing the situation on the ground. The team's departure from Zomba was rather delayed due to logistical challenges. Arrival at Search and Rescue Coordination Center. The team arrived and joined the Search and Rescue Coordination Center, which was established at Vipia Airfield at around 0900 hours on 11 June 2024. The team was briefed by the then 101 Brigade Commander, Brigadier General Richard Jagonapanja, regarding the ongoing search operations. He indicated that multiple search teams comprising soldiers, police officers, and forest guards had been deployed into the Chikangawa Forest Reserve to locate the missing aircraft and were awaiting further updates. The Coordination Center ensured harmonizing between the Malawi Defense Force, Malawi Police Service, medical and emergency services, forestry personnel, and civil aviation stakeholders. Discovery of the crash site.
If I may stop you, I think you've gone beyond your scope. I think the information you provided before was sufficient, but you are now going beyond your scope, which is now, you're now preempting the other phase that we have not planned for.
Thank you, Chair.
Is it possible for you to limit yourself to the scope? You've given us a lot of information on the particular scope we want to talk about.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. The summons I received specifically said I should also submit the role I played as an individual. So this is the role I played as an individual. It said the role played by you. This is the role I played as an individual. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, the role you played in the planning and preparations for the late Vice President's flight on 10th June. If you have your summons. But we are concerned about preempting another phase where people have not discussed, and we're going to preempt conversations and discussions of a phase we have not embarked upon.
Thank you, Chair. That is well noted.
We'll be asked to ask you those questions, and I think it won't be fair on other witnesses that are going to come. And we'd like to be very structural. So can we focus on this particular phase, but not on the search and rescue? We haven't gone to search and rescue yet. We may talk about it if it spills over. Okay? Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. That is well noted.
So may I, when I look at your presentation, I think you have provided with sufficient information to engage you on the airworthiness, maintenance of the aircraft, how ready the aircraft was before we venture into the actual flight and the recovery, the discovery of the bodies.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
I'm fine with that, sir.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, but you've done a good job so far, giving us all supporting documentation. You demonstrated that you're a qualified technician, and I think we have sufficient grounds to engage you and seek further clarification. So if I may ask, I may start asking, how safe was this aircraft? Just to break ice with you and let you settle down. I think you've got all the facts. So how safe was this aircraft? In summary, so that the members can now, start asking further questions, pertinent questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. In aircraft maintenance, we depend on documentation. As far as the paperwork for this aircraft was concerned, the aircraft was airworthy.
As being reminded that after you've just explained that, I think there's a relevant, you have relevant points on communication with aircraft manufacturer on point 14. That would be very critical. Findings with Germany BFU, that's very relevant. And the conclusion. So, yeah, you can talk about page 14. Communication with the aircraft manufacturer, the finding with BFU, and then you can conclude. But in general terms, how safe was the aircraft, and then you can proceed with your presentation.
Thank you, Chair. In general terms, the aircraft was safe for flight. It was airworthy. Thank you, Chair.
That's what we want to hear. Can you just take us through page 14, communication with aircraft manufacturer, and then you conclude.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Communication with the aircraft manufacturer. On 15th June 2024, after the immediate emergency response phase had subsided, I responded to correspondence received from a representative of General Atomic Systems from Germany, the manufacturer of the Dornier 228 aircraft. He expressed condolences and requested information relating to the accident. An official accident report form was provided and subsequently completed and returned. He further inquired whether the aircraft had been fitted with a flight data recorder, FDR, or a cockpit voice recorder, CVR, commonly referred to as black boxes. I confirmed that the aircraft had neither system installed. He also indicated that contact had already been established with the German Federal Bureau of Aircraft Accident Investigation, BFU, concerning the occurrence. Findings of the German Federal Bureau of Aircraft Accident Investigation. The German Federal Bureau of Aircraft Accident Investigation, BFU, is an international respected aviation safety authority whose investigations are conducted in accordance with recognized international standards. The BFU concluded that the accident occurred because the crew flew into instrument meteorological conditions during flight under visual flight rules, and the aircraft collided with the ascending terrain. In simple terms, the crew was operating under visual flight rules, VFR, which requires pilots to maintain visual reference with the horizon, the terrain, landmarks, and obstacles. During the flight, the aircraft encountered instrument meteorological conditions, IMC, where visibility deteriorated to the point that visual references were no longer sufficient for safe flight. As a result, the crew lost situation awareness and the aircraft collided with rising terrain. Explanation of key aviation terms. Visual flight rules, VFR. Under VFR, pilots navigate primarily using visual references outside the aircraft. Safe VFR operations require sufficient visibility to allow pilots to observe the horizon, the ground, navigation landmarks, other aircraft, terrain, and obstacles. Instrument meteorological condition, IMC. IMC describes weather conditions in which visibility is inadequate for visual navigation. In such conditions, pilots must rely on aircraft instruments and operate in accordance with instrument flight rules, IFR. The BFU identified following contributing factors to the accident. Continuation of flight at low altitude despite deteriorating weather conditions, loss of situational awareness by the flight crew, inadequate pre-flight preparation. The investigation further established that there was no accident-related technical defect, no aircraft system failure, no evidence of an in-flight or post-impact fire, adequate fuel was on board, there was clear evidence of adverse weather conditions, a deliberate operation decision to continue the flight despite increasing risk. Conclusions. Based on the technical information available before the Vice President's flight, the Directorate of Maintenance and Technical Support was satisfied that the aircraft had been properly maintained, inspected, and certified in accordance with approved procedures. The maintenance records, inspection records, defect management records, and technical certifications all supported the conclusion that the aircraft was airworthy and technically serviceable at the time. Based on the evidence reviewed, the following conclusions can also be drawn. The aircraft was structurally airworthy and operating well within its certified life limits. The age of the aircraft was not supported by engineering evidence as a causal factor in the accident. The absence of CVR and FDR equipment was consistent with the aircraft certified configuration and state aircraft status. Malawi Air Force initiated efforts to install flight recorders and modern ELTs, but financial constraints prevented its completion. State aircraft are maintained and operated under state-controlled systems designed to ensure their serviceability and operational readiness. The aircraft had a reduced seating capacity because some seats had been removed to accommodate the casket safely and respectively. The absence of post-impact fire is technically explainable and consistent with accident dynamics. The wreckage evidence does not indicate that an engine failure occurred prior to the accident. The condition of the wreckage after recovery was primarily influenced by the necessary cutting of the aircraft structure to recover victims trapped within the wreckage and the subsequent technical examination conducted by the BFU. The BFU investigation found no technical malfunction or aircraft defect that caused the accident. The primary cause of the accident identified by the BFU was the crew's continuation of a visual flight rules flight into instrument meteorological conditions, resulting in controlled flight into terrain. The BFU findings were based on an independent technical investigation conducted in accordance with international aviation safety standards. Accordingly, the BFU found that the accident was primarily the result of operational, human, and environmental factors, rather than aircraft age, structural condition, or technical failure. The crash of the Malawi Air Force Dornier 228 aircraft on 10 June 2024 was a tragic national disaster that resulted in the loss of occupants aboard the aircraft. I trust that this submission will assist the committee in understanding the role of the Director of Maintenance and Technical Support and the technical status of the aircraft prior to the accident. Respectively submitted, Colonel Julius Mdokhwe. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, the committee. I submit.
Thank you, Colonel Mdokhwe, for your elaborate presentation, which is very detailed and thorough. Members would like to engage you. So I'll start with Zomba.
Thank you, Chair.
Yep.
Sorry for interruption. Just one, this is a copy of the email correspondence that I had with the company.
You may surrender.
Thank you, Chair.
Any documents, any annexes documents with the Secretariat. May I request we start engaging you, if you're ready, with a pen and paper, because you may be required to answer a set of questions, maybe 3 or 4 at the same time. I'll start with Zomba City South, and then Zomba Tondwe.
Thank you very much, Chair. And let me also thank Colonel Mdokhwe for the elaborate submission. Chair, I will start by indicating that the Colonel's presentation to me was a bit difficult to follow because I was looking at the summons that were given to him, and therefore I found the submission to be loaded with issues that were outside the summons. For example, I noted that he concentrated on issues that were not in the summons, configuration, for example, of the Vice President's flight. I thought that was not included in the summons. I noted that he spoke about the absence of post-impact fire I think that was not in the summons. I wonder why he concentrated on that. Assessment of engine power at impact. I thought maybe he might have included things that were not in the summons. Chair, you rightly intervened at a certain point because he started going to borders and what have you. So I found this to be a bit disturbing. Maybe there's a reason why he took this route, but Chair, I thought this was a bit, I don't know what English to use, but I think it was a bit off tangent. But still, since he's here with the submission that he has made, I also wanted to find out, I think all the members have got a BFU report. I noted that he was taking us through the BFU report, and I think in our 2 hours, analyzing the BFU report is also one of our responsibilities as a committee, because the BFU report was found to be a bit inadequate in a few areas. So he appears to be taking the BFU as a standard for making some of the observations and conclusions. So I also found that to be off tangent. I don't know why he also concentrated on the BFU that we thought is also a bit inadequate for us to also to take a look as a committee. Anyway, besides that, yesterday I did ask a question to, was that a Major, the guy, the officer we met at the end? Captain Ngoma. I'm referring to that question because I see you're also responsible for defect management, sorry. I did ask about this particular plane, Tango 03, that on the 9th, it started off from Zomba, going to Blantyre. There was an incident where the left engine was not rolling, and I think officers there were asked to manually roll the engine. So he responded. I want to associate this to another procedure that was done on the same day. They call it a touch and go procedure. I think you are aware of this procedure. So I'm referring to you because you are in charge of defect management. We were told because of the flying hours of this plane, it was still almost new. Can you confirm that it was almost new? Because I noticed that there are other parts that have been replaced, despite the plane in total being almost new. Other individual parts are being replaced, one of them being the ADI. So I was just thinking to say the rolling of the engine, was it a sign of a certain component malfunctioning? If so, do you think this could also probably explain why they had to do this touch and go procedure? Chair, I should also thank the Colonel for bringing records. I hope the maintenance records, including the inspection records that he has at the Zomba Air Base, could also be made available to this committee so that we also use it for our assessment. The next question is to do with maybe not a question, but a request. The normal sitting configuration of this plane, Chair, I thought maybe the design, we need to have it so that we see the sitting arrangements, because we are getting confused after it was reconfigured. We need to see how was it originally and the reconfigured configuration for us to make informed opinions. I'm saying this because I know that the 9th June plane going to Zuzu had 9 passengers. This one had 6 passengers, meaning that it had 3 empty seats. So I wanted maybe for me also to make an informed conclusion in this, to have the seating arrangement provided to us. We have also gone into suppositions, I think on the impact of the absence of fire on impact. I think that one, I thought you made a number of assumptions. as a lay person, if there's no fuel, I find it difficult that we can have a fire. So we looked at one side, but I thought we could have a number of hypotheses. If this is not there, this cannot happen. If this is not there, this cannot happen. But we concentrated on one area. I'm a lay person in your field, but the absence of fuel, I thought it could also be something that could explain the absence of fire. You might ask me to say the plane had 4 hours of endurance, but maybe that could be explained later, because this is avionics, this is engineering. You never know what happened en route. Maybe there was no fuel. We couldn't have also fire. Finally, Chair, I noted that there was communication with the air manufacturer, and I thought evidence could be provided of that communication, and I'm happy that at the end he was also submitted that evidence to say they communicated with the manufacturer. So indeed I wanted that one to also to be given to the committee, so that we also appreciate that indeed there was this communication. As a Chair.
You may respond to these questions before we move to the next one.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honourable Member. The first question about the roaring of propellers. When the aircraft flies for a short distance and then it comes down to land, and then they have to restart the engines again. Normally the engines, they have got an indicator in the cockpit showing the temperature of the engines. And according to the starting limitations of the engines, the temperature has to be at a certain level. If this temperature is not at that level, then what is required is to rotate the propellers. This rotating of the propellers helps the temperature to go down so that you reach the starting limit of the engines. This is exactly what happened on this day. As on the touch and go, normally due to limited resources, our pilots don't fly as often. So when there's a chance to fly, normally they do training. So this touch and go was part of training before undertaking the mission. They were practicing landing before taking the major mission. This is what happened on this day. Absence of fuel. Records are available indicating that this aircraft was refueled and fuel was on board. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honourable Member.
Yeah, Zomba Tondwe, then we go Doa Kasangazi, and then Mulanje Mudi, Lilonge Mudis. I keep saying Lilonge Mudi.
Thank you so much, Chair. Good morning, Conan Doc.
Good morning,
Thank you. Chair, I must say, most of the things he's mentioned, especially the first portion of his presentation, were well presented. But I would also like to say that they were not conclusive, so to say, because some items were missing. One example is what Dr. Mpunga has said, and I just want it to be on record because it's, he said that under oath. I would give an example of the, I agree, for a fire to happen you need 3 conditions, including heat, the fuel itself, and the oxygen. That's quite true. But I'm giving just an example. If we assume, for example, that this plane had the puncture somewhere, or on the tanks, for example, it would be in air and just gliding, not on the engines. But of course, he has said that the engines were were running at this point in time. But I just wanted to give him an example to say, you may lose fuel from the tanks from different ways, not just this. So that's just one example. Otherwise, I would start from the same chair to agree with his assessment or his opinion on the rotating of engines, meaning the engines had power. But Colonel, while I agree with you that engines had power, would you also therefore suggest that there was no way the master switch could be off if the engines had power? I'm engaged. I hope you got my point.
No, I don't understand the question.
You said, which I agree with you, that the engines we are running had power at this point in time on impact. Not so? Yeah, so I just wanted you to confirm that there is no way engines can have power with the master switch off. Do you agree?
Thank you, Honorable. I don't agree.
How would you explain? I'm sorry, because I'm looking at supply of fuel to the engines. How did that happen, Colonel?
The TP331 engine has an engine-driven pump that supplies fuel to the Dornier 228 aircraft has got engine-driven pumps that pump fuel from the tanks to the engines. And these pumps don't need electrical power. Even if you remove all the electrical energy on the aircraft, the engines will still be running. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you so much for such an answer. Chair, that answers yesterday's question presented by Captain Antani, and I agree with him. Other than that, I wanted, Colonel, just to confirm with you. Of course, I understand from your presentation, which is I understand it well, but I wanted to confirm in terms of regulations, like, for example, the radio license. I asked this question to Captain Ngoma yesterday. He referred me to you. I just wanted to confirm that, do you also get licenses, radio licenses under MACLA, or as military you don't?
Thank you, Honorable. As military, we don't. And there are reasons for that. A radio license will restrict you to the spectrum that you are given to operate. As military, we do operations where we're not supposed to be restricted to a certain spectrum. Thank you, member.
Thank you so much, Colonel. Just also to confirm that that same thing, okay, on insurance, what would you comment? Are you supposed to have insurance for the plane?
We are supposed to have. Thank you.
But in this case, you never had the insurance?
The insurance is renewed annually. When the accident happened, the insurance had expired.
Thank you. And I also wanted just to confirm that you mentioned, and it's clear to me, you have a deferred defect logbook. Chair, I would like to request if it is possible to have a picture on that, so that we can just refer to what is mentioned about the standing of the defects. So, as he has expressed, normally there will be a book for defects, outstanding defects with the plane. Maybe that may also help to assist members. As I get towards the end, Colonel, there was mention of a defect covering the ADI within the same week. And I was looking at the graph, a graphical presentation of the flight height, with reference to heights. So the way it was showing, it was like it's going down and then it goes up upon when it's like approaching terrain. And that could surely be linked to, in terms of reference, the ADI. And then the flight was not level. Would you think that maybe after defect rectification, the fault could have happened again and they probably contributed to this, in your view? Colonel.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I don't think so. An ADI has got nothing to do with the altitude of the aircraft. An altimeter is what the pilots use for calculating at the height of the aircraft above ground, not an ADI. Thank you, Member.
And again, I wanted to just, maybe this one I'll spare for the avionics guy, but you may also take this one, Cornell. I just wanted to confirm that you do campus swings, and if possible, how often, just to relate with the way you do your maintenance.
Thank you, Member. Campus swings are carried out annually during the annual inspection. And there's only one technician in the whole country who does campus swing, even including civilian aircraft. It's Colonel Chilunguni.
Okay. Thank you so much, Colonel. As I wind up, I think I would just request that if we could have a picture on the initial technical specifications of the Donia 228. Otherwise, Chair, I'm quite impressed with his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you be able to provide us with copies of the insurance policy and the certificates of this aircraft? Though you're saying it expired at the time of the crash, but we'd like to see the insurance policy because we have victims that have not been compensated up until now. So we'd like to see what that insurance policy covers.
Thank you, Chair. The responsibility for insurance cover for Malawi Air Force aircraft lies with the joint headquarters, the Directorate of Logistics.
Yes, I'm asking you to facilitate. If you're, maybe we can follow up with them, but if you're in a position to facilitate, will be helpful. Maybe we will engage you afterwards, and who will be the right person for us to give us the insurance policy.
Thank you, Chair. I think a formal request has to be written to the joint headquarters. Thank you, Chair.
Lower.
Chair. Sorry for interruption. Maybe before he comes in, there are some outstanding, I think, answers that I have to provide to Zomba Tondwe. The Donia 228 aircraft has a master warning system. This warning system will warn the pilot in case of any system malfunction. Even if the aircraft is running out of fuel, a warning will come on. If there is low oil pressure, a warning would come on. And what the BFU did, they got hold of this system and they analyzed it. And they found that the aircraft had no system malfunction. Thank you.
Excuse me, Chair. I don't understand. How did they analyze it when just to get a picture? Did they do that in the country? Because the Chair, if the plane has crashed, how would the analysis be done? Just for the Colonel to teach me one or two things. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Honorable. The system was taken to Germany, where they did the analysis. It's even in the BFU report. Thank you, Honorable.
Chair, just maybe on the same. So the warning panel, I agree with you, is in the report. It was working. So that means if the fuel had run out, it was able to show the pilots that we are running out of fuel. But on analysis, how can they detect from the machine that indeed, from that panel, that indeed fuel had run out? They will in my opinion, they will just see that it was functioning, but not necessarily that it told them that fuel had run out.
Thank you, Honorable. This panel has got illuminants, bulbs, that illuminate when there is a system malfunction. So what they did, they analyzed whether these bulbs had illuminated during the flight. Thank you, Honorable.
Doa Kasangaza.
Zikomo kwambiri chair potipatsa ife anthu akudowa Kasangadzi mpata kuti tiperekepo mafunso. Poyambirira ndifuna ndidziwe keno kuti kodi inuyo mangogwira ntchito yokoza ndege yokha kapena mathaso kuyendetsa ndege. Ndipo ngati mmatha kuyendetsa ndege dunia imene inachita ngozi munayendetsapo.
Zikomo kwambiri Honorable. Ine ntchito yanga ndiyo kukonza ndege. Kuyendetsa ndege sinditha. Tikakonza ndege to want to go for a test flight, I have to go with a pilot. Malamulo aviation, for you to be in the air, you must have a license to fly. Not anybody can just go into the air and fly. It's not allowed. Even if technically you know how to fly, but you must have a license to fly. Malamulo aviation amateur. So for a test flight, I always go with a qualified pilot. Thank you, Honorable.
Ndieno ndimafuna ndimvetsetse bwinobwino chifukwa mmene mmafotokoza munanenapo kuti ndegeyi inali bwinobwino mmene manyambuka ku Zomba kupita ku Blantyre kupita ku Mzuzu inuyo mukunena kuti ndegeyi inali bwinobwino moti ikanatha inali yoti no imayenera kumauluka ndithu. Dzulo pamene tinali ndi Captain Ntani anatifotokozerapo zokhudzana ndi mitambo yovuta kwambiri mlengalenga. Anachulapo za mtambo umene umatchedwa mu Chingerezi kuti cumulonimbus, akuti ndi mtambo umene umakhala ovuta kwambiri. Ndiye ndikuiwerenga BFU report, final report. Pa page 59 pali zithunzi zimene zinachokera ku satellite images amene anajambula mitambo imene inaliko kunthungwa kumene kunagwera ndege imeneyi. Mitambo imeneyo pa page 59 ya BFU report ayijambula bwino kwambiri makamaka amene tikuona zithunzi zakala. Maganizo mwanga nuona ngati kuti inali mitambo ya gulu limeneli la cumulonimbus. Ndipo ayikaponso nthawi imene amajambulira kunthungwako pakati pa 10 o'clock ndi 10:15. Zithunzi za mitambo imeneyo aziyika pamene popo. Ineyo ndimafuna ndikufunseni kuti mmene mukufotokozera kuti ndege inali bwinobwino. Munayiona inali bwinobwino ndipo inali airworthy yoti ikhoza kumauluka ndithu bwinobwino. Inu mukuona kuti chimene chinapangitsa ngozi imeneyi chinali chani?
Zikomo kwambiri Honorable. Ineyo ngati munthu wa aviation. I've been in aviation field for a long time, now 35 years. Ine ndimakhulupirira zimene ma bodies aviation amanena. BFU, if you look at their record, iyi singozi yoyamba kuzapanga investigate, and those people are professionals. For one to become an aircraft accident investigator, you undergo the relevant training, and this training is not easy. I can tell you, even here in Malawi, we don't have a single aircraft accident investigator. Even the Department of Civil Aviation doesn't have one. So me, I believe in what the experts told us. Thank you.
Komado fosu sumuna yanki. Nde mwasi ya malere. Andonsa amena kumva. Pena vage presentation yanu inali bwino kwa basi. Kumano mayankilo yanu makala kuti sumukwata mbasula. Zegena kala bwino kuti muzidi masula. Afusa lomveka kwambiri. Nde maganizo wanu ndege inagwa faja cumulonimbus kuna bwera anzanu kunoko Captain Ntani amene anatifotokozera kuti ndege inagwa kwa mitambo cumulonimbus amene ni mitambo yoopsa kwambiri yoti imakhala imatha kubwera mwadzidzidzi komanso ikatuluka imakhala imapanga stretch distance yaitali kwambiri. Ndi akufunsa mfunso iwowa kuti muyankhe funso la community members. Zikanakhala bwino mutatiyankha.
Zikomo kwambiri chair. Nkhani ya mitambo amayidziwa ni mapilot. In engineering, you don't study the weather, you study engineering. So nkhani ya mitundi ya mitambo ndi nkhani ya mapilot. Chimene ndinganenepo ineyo nchokuti the prevailing weather conditions at the time contributed to this accident. Thank you, sir.
So nzati mukunena kuti za community members simukudziwa chilichonse. Kuvomereza ndi bwino. Iyo ni mbali yena amene ali ndi akadaulo ndi meteorology. For information sima pilot ya. Mapilot amatenga information kwa meteorology. Ndinga tufala timvesese bwino bwanji taitani ma experts a meteorology abwera za fotokoze.
Zikomo kwambiri chair. Mapilot amaphunzira za meti in detail. Chimozimozi mena amaphunzirira ameti. Ndipo you have to pass that module to be a pilot. Zikomo kwambiri chair.
Funso lomaliza chair. Zikomo kwambiri chair. Funso lomaliza asilikali ambiri amene abwera kunoko kudzaonekera komiti ino akumanyadira kwambiri ndege imene inagwa ija kuti inali ndege yabwinobwino, inali ngati ya new one chifukwa chonena kuti inauluka ma hours osapitirira 4000. Komano mmene tamveranso kuchokera kwa asilikali omwewo akunena kuti ndege imene inapangidwa mu chaka cha 1988 kapena kuti kugulidwa dziko la Malawi linayigula tili ndi kamuzu chaka cha 1988, ndipo pamene imagwapa ndi kuti inali ndi zaka 36. Ndiye ineyo ndikudabwa kuti kodi kuinyadira ndegeyi kukuchoka pati chifukwa chonena kuti mu chaka cha 2006 pafupifupi zaka 20 zapitazo emergency locator transmitter inali ni battery lonena kuti ino lapanga expire, ndipo kuti muyesere kuti mukagule amene anapanga ndegeyo ananena kuti ife tinasiya kupanga zinthu ngati zimenezo. Ndiye mukamayinyadira ndege imeneyi kunyadirako kukuchokera patipati. Zikomo kwambiri.
Zikomo kwambiri honorable. Monga mene nalongosolera umoyo wa ndege suyendera pa zaka. Umoyo wa ndege umayendera nthawi imene ndegeyo yakhala mulengalenga. Nthawi imene ndege iyi inapanga ngozi inakhala mulengalenga ndiyo chepa kwambiri. Koma tikayang'ana mabuku a ndege imeneyi, ndege imene okhala mulengalenga mawa zokwana 29,600 ikafika pamenepo ndoti umoyo wake watha. Koma ndege iyi mawa zake anali 3,480 basi. Zikomo kwambiri.
Longemude.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson, for giving me the opportunity to ask Ken Mdokhwe some 3 questions that are based on his presentation and previous interactions that we had. Ken Mdokhwe ndiyambira pa nkhani ya BFU imene munaloledwa kuti mutiuze ripoti ya Germany, azungu aku Germany amene adabwera nkudzaona za ngozi ya ndege, ndiye munapangapo presentation pa nkhani imeneyi. Ndiye ineyo ndimafuna ndikufunseni inuyo ngati katswiri wa ndege amene okonza ndege komanso engineer wa pa ndege mwagwira ntchito kwa zaka 35 nkhani ya ndege yokhayokhayi. Mudayiona ripoti mudayiwerenga, ifenso tidayiwerenga. Alipo Amalawi wena amayikana kuti ayi ripoti isiyoona kapena kuti ikuperewera pena ndi pena. Inuyo ngati katswiri oyang'ana za ndege, mbali ina mwayankhapo kale kuti mmakhulupirira science ndipo mmakhulupirira zimene anthu akatswiri akunena. pali magapu ena aliwonse kapena kuperewera kwina kulikonse kumene mwina pa ripoti pali zonena kuti mwina ikuperewera ndeno tikuyenera tionenso apa ndi apa ngati ifeyo ngati komiti yoona izizi.
Zikomo kwambiri honorable member for Lilongwe Mudi. Cholinga cha aircraft accident investigation, cholinga chake is to improve safety. Kuti zinthu zimene zosazatani sazachitikeso. Ndi anthu aja ripoti awo amatulutsa zinthu zoona zeni kuti zimene zachitikazo sazachitikeso. Koma ngati munthu suli mu aviation industry umakhala ndi zifukwa zako zimene ungakanire ripoti licha. Koma as far as aviation industry is concerned, ife cholinga chathu cha ripoti licha kumakhala kupanga improve safety. Zikomo kwambiri.
Zikomo. Funso langa lachiwiri ndi la maintenance. Mwatilongosolera bwinobwino ndipo munanenapo kuti ndege state aircraft ndi civilian aircraft, ndege ya asilikali ndi ndege za anthu amba oti sa asilikali. Ndi munayikanso example ya magalimoto a president ndi magalimoto ena wa COF ndi zina zotero. Ndimafuna ndifunse funso lonena kuti kodi procedure kapena kuti ka maintenance ya ndege za ku Malawi kuno mmene mmachitira maintenance yanu nzofanana ndi mmene amachitiraso ku Zambia olo ku Zimbabwe, kuti titakafunsa ku Zambia ku Zimbabwe anena kuti yayi maintenance yake imakhala mmene inuyo ku Malawi kunonso mmachitira?
Sorry, Lilongwe Mudi. Munakhutitsidwa ndi yankho imene anapereka pa BFU report? Munafusafuso ngati panali akayiwunika BFU report. Munakhutitsidwa?
Ndakhutitsidwa.
Okay, chabu.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Zikomo kwambiri honorable. Ndege ikapangidwa mukayigula ikamabwera imabwera ndi mabuku osiyana-siyana. Imodzi mwa mabuku ndi maintenance planning document imene imakuwuzani chopanga kakhonzedwe ka ndege imeneyi. Mene tingakhonzere ndege ku Malawi kuno ndi mene angakhonzere ndege ku Zimbabwe basically kweno khala kofanana. Chimene chimasiyana nchakuti makampani ena akakhala nayo ndege ija nthawi yayitali, they produce their own maintenance program imene amayipititsa ku Civil Aviation Authority for approval. In our case ngati military ifeyo timatsatira zimene aircraft manufacturer anayika maintenance planning document. Sititsatira program ina iyayi. Imeneyi ndi program imene timatsatira ife kukonza ndege zathu. Zikomo.
Zikomo kwambiri. Funso langa lomaliza ndi nkhani ya ndinu katswiri wa ndege, mwakonza ndege komanso ndinu engineer wa ndege. Ndeni ufuna ndifunsezo za chitsulo chimodzi cha mu ndege chimene mwina tili ndi mafunso kuti kodi chimagwira ntchito bwanji. Chitsulo chimenechi mchizungu akuti weather radar, kapena chitsulo chimene chimauza mapilot aja za weather kuti kodi weather ili bwanji kumene mupitako ndi zina zotero. Ndimafuna ndidziwe kuti kodi chitsulo chimenechi cha weather radar chimene chimauza mapilot kuti kumene muloweraku kuli chonchi kodi chimatha kunena kuti kumene muloweraku kuli fog ili chonchi, kapena mukhozoona pa mtunda wakuti ngati visibility mchizungu chimatha kukuuzani nkhani ya fog ndi kapena kuti chifunga ndi visibility kuti mukhozoona pa mtunda wakuti?
Zikomo kwambiri honorable. Weather radar ya ndege imapanga detect precipitation, that is rain, snow, hail, thunderstorm and moisture concentration. It does not detect fog or mist or smoke.
Pepani munganinikira mchichewa mwina poti tuchita soda Malawi azimvana.
Zikomo kwambiri honorable. Weather radar ya ndege imatha kuona kutsogolo kwa ndege ngati kuli mvula sinuzoti chichewa cha snow ndi chani ndipovuta. Snow ngati kugwa mvula ya matalala, ngati kuli mvula ya ziphaliwali, kapenanso ngati mu mitambo muli madzi ochuluka. Weather radar siona zinthu ngati nkhungu kapena utsi. Zikomo kwambiri honorable.
Thank you. That's it.
Mwanza Central.
Thank you very much, Chair. Potenda yandikana ndi Honorable Lilongwe Mude ndipo afusa nchichewa ndiye ndikupempheni Chair kuti na Nelson mwena ntichita motero. Zikomo kwambiri. Ndimafuna ndingodziwa Keno kuti mu mbiri yanu mene munadziwira za ndege mmakhala ndi chidwi ndikukhulupirira kuona zimene zikuchitika ku aviation. Munamvapo za report ina iliyonse yakafukufuku amene mwina akatswiri adachita amene atachita mwina koyamba nkudzachitanso patatha zaka zina nkupeza kuti kafukufuku oyamba uja adasiyira pa njira zina sadaziyang'ane? Munamvapo mwina zimenezo?
Thank you, Mwanza Central. Ngati pakafukufuku wa ndege, ngati ma investigators sanamalize, amapanga declare kuti sanamalize. Koma ngati amaliza, amapanga also declare kuti kafukufuku uyuyu tamaliza. Zikomo kwambiri honorable.
Mwina funso langa ndilonena kuti inuyo potsatira za aviation munamba mwina mwamvapo kuti chifukwa ine ndimakonda kuonera zijamati air crash investigation, ndimaonera kwambiri, ndiye ndimafuna ningodziwa kuti kodi zimatheka kuti akatswiri apanga kafukufuku koma patatha zaka kudzapeza kuti kafukufuku winanso wachitika wapeza zosiyana ndi zimenezo wakatswiri omwe onse?
Thank you honorable. Ineyo sinamvepo yayi. Zikomo kwambiri.
Zikomo kwambiri. Anakamba za anafunsa za chitsulo chimene chimaona za nyengo, ndiye mukufunsa kwawo munayankha ndithu momveka bwino kuti chitsulo chimenecho chimayang'ana kwambiri mitambo ngati muli madzi ambiri, snow kapena kuti mvula ya matalala tingotero kuti imveke bwino. Ndimafuna ndidziwe kuti chifukwa patchulidwa kwambiri za mtambo wina wake umene ukumatchulidwa kuti cumulonimbus. Ndithokoza Chair kuti mwanena kuti imeneyo kwambiri abwera akatswiri azanyengo adzatiuze za mtambo umene ufa watchulidwa kwambiri. Komano ndimangofuna ndifunse kuti mtambo uwu ukhoza kukhala so umodzi mwa mitambo imene kachitsulo kamene kukakhoza kuona, koma ngati muli Belgian it's okay. Ndimangofuna ndidziwe chifukwa choti funso linafunsidwa and munaliyankha, komano kungofuna kudziwa ngati kuti mwina pakachitsulo kameneka kutinso mwina mitambo iyi ikhoza kukhala so mugulu lomwe ikhoza kuonedwa ndi kachitsulo kameneko.
Zikomo kwambiri honorable. apopo sindikudziwa iyayi. Chomwe ndikudziwa ine zimene imaona weather radar ndi zimene ndafotokoza zicha. Zikomo kwambiri onapo.
Zikomo. Pomaliza chifukwa chokuti munakamba za munatipatsa science ya momwe moto umachitikira. Ndimafuna ningofunsa kuti kodi ndege ikamauluka mwamba ndiye mwina ikamafika pansi imakhala ndi zipangizo zina zake zoti zizithandizira kuchotsa static electricity kapena ujeni ndege sizikhudzana ndi zimene simakhala ndi static electricity. Ndimanena izi chifukwa choti timaona kuti nthawi zina chitsulo chikayenda thupi likamakhudza chinthu chija pamakhala ndi thupi kenaka kamamveka ta mati static electricity. Ndipo ndino akatswiri a kukonza ndegezi kapena nthawi zina mumadziwa kuti pali zitsulo zina zimayikidwa mmene muzothandizira kuchotsa zimenezo.
Zikomo kwambiri onapo. Ndege zoona imakhala ndi ma static wicks amene amathandiza kuchotsa static electricity. Zikomo kwambiri onapo.
Zikomo kwambiri. Nafuna ndiyimire pamene pa chair pakakhalanso mafunso ena ndibweranso.
Dedza mayani vana kupali mpikisano. And then Nkadabe North, then tizapita kwa Dedza Kasina.
Zikomo kwambiri chair povomera kuti anthu akudedza kumayani afunse nawo mafunso. Kaonero ndakumvetserani mwachidwi kwambiri ndikufotokoza kwanu, ndipo ndinganene kuti presentation yanu ndi imodzi mwa presentation amene ndatsatira mwachidwi komanso mumalankhula zinthu mwachindunji, ndipo mukuoneka munakonzeka chifukwa munali ndi zambiri zimene mwationetsa. Ndinachita chidwi mutafotokoza za maphunziro anu kuti munapanga ku Ulaya, ku Europe. Choyamba ndimafuna ndingodziwa kuti kodi ndimene munaphunzirira inuyo za ndege, pakuti anthu amaona ngati kuti mwina ku Malawi kuno zina zathu zochitika timakhala ngati timabwerera kupang'ono chifukwa cha chuma chathu. Inuyo mutha kukonza ndege ngakhale mutati mwapita ku Europe.
Zikomo kwambiri onabo from Dedza Mayani. Ineyo license yanga ndinanena eti ndiya EASA, that is European Aviation Safety Agency, covering the whole of European Union. I'm certified by that body. Thank you, Honorable.
Zikomo kwambiri kusonyeza kuti maphunziro anu sitingakayikire pena palipose, ndinu munthu ndithu oti ngodziwika internationally mwina chichewa chake titero. Ndiye mmati ndidziwe kodi ndege zimene mumakonzazi zimakhala ndi geji ya mafuta?
Zikomo kwambiri Honorable. Ndege ina iliyonse imakhala ndi geji ya mafuta. Kupatula geji ya mafuta imakhala ndi low fuel pressure warning. Imakhalanso ndi low fuel quantity warning. Zikomo kwambiri.
Mu kufotokoza kwanu ndathokoza kanero. Mwanena kwambiri nimaona kuti mumakonda kukamba kwambiri za ripoti la BFU. Mwina ifoti nanunso munapangidwanso maphunziro anu cha ku Europe komweko kumenenso kuli Germany. Soze kuti European standards kwa inuyo mukuoneka kuti mukuzikhulupirira kwambiri. Ndingaganize choncho kuti kuganiza wanga unkolondola kuti inu mukhulupirira kuti ma standards akumeneko simukuwakayikira pakachitidwe kawo.
Zikomo kwambiri Honorable. Ku Europe ma standards aviation ndapa mwamba kwambiri. mutati mufufuze mupeza kuti ma airline ambiri adziko lapasi saloledwa kwauluka ku Europe chifukwa cha ma standards. So European standards are very high, especially in this case I'll talk of Germany. Aviation standards in Germany are very high. The German national airline is Lufthansa. Mutafufuza mbiri ya Lufthansa, ndege ya Lufthansa sinagwepo ya. Thank you, Honorable.
Koma munkuganiza kwa ine ndimati nitadziwa kuchokera kwa ino anthu amene ankachita kafukufuku wawo m'Malawi muno nanga sipanali kukayikirana pakati pa atsogoleri a ndale. So pano ndiyo abwera mkatikati modzachita kafukufuku koma pakati pa atsogoleri a ndale pena tikukayikira kuti mwina pena pake sipanali bwino. Panalibe mukuoneka mwina munaenda nawo limodzi. Inuyo muganiza kuti ntchito imeneyi anayigwira momasuka. Ine chifukwa ndikuganiza kuti mwina mkutheka azungu aso mwina panali kuopsezedwa kapena china chake chifukwa inu mukhala ngati kuti ripoti ilo muyikhulupirira kwambiri. Ine mafuna ndidziwe kuti munyengo imeneyi azungu amenewa amene muganiza kuti ngodziwa ntchito yawo kwambiri koma kodi ali kwathu kuno ntchito imeneyi adayigwira momasukadi.
Ziko mwambiri Honorable. Anthu a BFU ntchito yawo anayigwira momasuka. Anali ndi chitetezo chokwanira. Amayenda ndi apolisi. And anthu amene aja ndi ma professionals. Thank you, Honorable.
Ndiye ndaona mwatengamo kasentesi kena mu ripoti limeneli malingana ndi zimene akuluakulu amenewa analemba. Ndiye kamene kamanena kuti ndikukhulupirira kuti inali fundo yanu ya nambala 62. Mwina tibwerere ku presentation yanu ija ngati tingayitsate limodzi. Pa fundo yanu ya nambala 62 mwanena kuti imene ndi page 15. Mwanena kuti in simple terms the crew was operating under visual flight rules VFR, which requires pilots to maintain visual reference with the horizon terrain, landmarks and obstacles. And mfundo ya number 63 mwazane na kuti during the flight the aircraft encountered instrumental meteorological IMC where visibility deteriorated due to the point that visual reference were no longer sufficient for safe flight. As a result, the crew lost situational awareness and the aircraft collided with the rising terrain. Loss of situational awareness. Funso limeneli la loss of situational awareness ndinafusa so dzulo kwa apiloti kunena kuti pali liuli na munzanu zoyendesa ndege zoulusa ndege imene imachedwa spatial disorientation imene ikufanana tanthauzidwe lake ndi mawu omwewa onena kuti loss of situational awareness. Ndiye inu poti mwagwira ntchito kwa zaka 35 kodi zimenezi zingatengere kuti munthu iwe ndiwe pilot wanyowani kapena poti ndiwe wakalekale ndiye sizingakuchitikire? Zimayenderana ndi experience ya pilot kapena ndi zinthu zoti wina aliyense zitha kumuchitikira malingana ndi kudziwa kwanu pa nkhani ya za ndege zikomo.
Zikomo kwambiri Honorable. Zimene siziyendera experience aliyense zikhoza kumuchitikira. Zikomo kwambiri.
Funso langa lomaliza kapena ndemanga yanga kwinako ine ndingothokoza kwakukulu chifukwa chonena kuti mwaonetsa kuti skulu imene munakachita ku Europe komanso ndi ma institution amene ali kumeneko inuyo mukwadalira komabe nkhawa yanga ija sindiyichotsabe nanga sa polisi amalonderawo ndi asilikali amene nawo anali ku Malawi konkuno a BFU ndiye mwina tidamvapo kafukufuku wina kuti ena amadzachita kafukufuku mdziko muno laptop yawo yabedwa mwakuti anthu odzachita kafukufuku ndiye pamene popo ilo awo maganizo anga chabe koma simungayankhire zonse mwina zinazo chair nditha kuti ndidzafunse kuti mdalo masuka mtabwera ku Malawi chifukwa mwina ine pena ndimakhala ndi nkhawa chifukwa cha mmene ngozi ina achitikira abwera mkatikati mwa chipwirikiti cha mtundu umenewo. Zikomo kwambiri chair. Yenayo ndine manga. Zikomo.
Ndakumva ndetsa mayani kumene ngani kupita. So
yeah, thank you chair.
Kumene yakulira akelo ndoko yakulira so supplementary pa okay.
Keno Mdokhwe a BFU report adalembera ku Malawi kapena adakalembera ku Germany mafuna ndingofunsa pano.
Zikomo kwambiri Honorable Lilongwe Mude report anakalembera kwawo ku Germany. Zikomo kwambiri.
Nkatabe North and then Kasena.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, for giving people in Nkatabe North to ask questions. My question goes to his report, I think on the periodic maintenance of Donia, they say Donia 228. Colonel, I've got 3 questions. I'll be engaging with you to get clarity. First question is, in the Donia 228, in the history of maintenance of this aircraft, has it ever been returned to the base due to the technical failure?
Thank you, Honorable, from Nkatabe North. An aircraft is a machine. And a machine can develop faults. Yes, this has happened before.
How many times?
Thank you, Honorable. That one I cannot tell, because the Donia 228, this one in particular, which was involved in the accident, came in 1988. It was even before I had joined the military. So I wouldn't tell. Thank you, Honorable.
So while there, Tilipo Mwepo, would you know the historical nature of the faults of this aircraft since you were the engineer? Historically, vuto linelima pezeka pafupi limachuluka la Donia nalijana. Because the machine inde amafoneka service makumezeka mafault kama history mukatokumbukira kuti history ya mafaults inalijana pa Donia 228.
Yeah, maybe to clarify on that. I was coming on there. So I need to expound. Okay? Especially which equipment was subjected to the frequent maintenance of this Donia?
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, Honorable. The system that we developed constant faults is the landing gear. Normally, we service the landing gear using hydraulic fluid and nitrogen. And most of the times, because this is a mature aircraft, we land in unprepared airstrips. The landing gear needed servicing most of the times. Thank you, Honorable.
Yeah, thank you. So on this case of Donia, it was learned that when it was clashing, the landing gear was out. Can we say that, can we confirm that the aircraft had a problem?
Thank you, Honorable. When the crash happened, the aircraft was approaching in Zuzu, and the pilots were trying to locate the landing field. when you are trying to locate the landing field, you reduce the speed of the aircraft. Once you reduce the speed of the aircraft, the systems of the aircraft assume you are about to land and you have forgotten to extend the landing gear. So there is a warning that is triggered, reminding you that the landing gear is not out. So normally what the pilots do is they extend the landing gear to prevent this warning, continuous warning system. Tui, 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 tui. So once they reduce the speed of the aircraft, the pilots will automatically extend the landing gear to prevent the warning from coming on. Thank you, Honorable.
On your response, you speak. On your response, you say the pilot was approaching Mzuzu. Have you ever been to the accident scene?
Yes, I've been.
Is that in Mzuzu? How many kilometers from Mzuzu there?
I wouldn't tell how many kilometers, but according to my report, what the BFU found is loss of situation awareness by the pilots.
So we can agree that it was not landing in Mzuzu. That's why I was asking about the landing gear, that it was found that it was out, meaning that the same problem which you are mentioning here, we can confirm that the aircraft had fault.
Thank you, Honorable. The aircraft did not have a fault. The aircraft had a master warning system. And according to analysis by the BFU, no system was malfunctioning. Thank you, Honorable.
Chair, the last question is about the same technical. What inspection, technical checks, and airworthiness assessment were conducted on the aircraft prior to its departure on 9th June 2024?
Prior to the departure of this aircraft on 10th June 2024, 3 inspections were previously carried on this aircraft. There was a 150 flying hour inspection on both engines, 3 months inspection and 6 months inspection on airframe. Thank you, Honorable.
Oh, Chair, I appreciate. But I think my colleague has asking one of the questions, confirming about Lufthansa, is it Lufthansa air flight had in history had no crash, but I just wanted to make you aware that they had several crashes, one of which has just happened in 2026 here. It was Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner. It had a crash on June. Thank you. Just wanted to give you an update that he was confirming in the history of the aircraft. You can check in Germany, Lufthansa airline had not crashed. So I'll confirm to you they had a crash, and several of them. Thank you.
Can I respond to that, Honorable? The crash that you're mentioning about, it was a collapse on the landing gear in the hangar, not in flight. Thank you, Honorable.
There's a Casina.
Thank you so much, Chair. I have a number of questions. I'll try to limit them so that I give chance to others. And if you permit me, Chair, you would allow me to come back later on. Good morning, Keno Mdokhwe. Ndava bwino lomwe experience ya 35 years ya civil engineering and everything. Chair amene amakufunsani apo mpano nkhani yokhuzana ndi history ya ndege imene mukuti ndi abwinobwino, if you had any history ya follow history ya ndege imene ndi munanena kuti imene amagula you are yet to join MDF. Can you munapoyambira mene MDF munajoina iti? Kwamba kuna ntchito kwa MDF ku department munambali chakaja?
Thank you very much, Honorable. I joined the MDF in 1990.
And munapita straight ku department imene mugwirayi?
Yes, sir.
Kuti zaka 30 jakutatu?
Zoona.
Chabwino, ndifuna tiyambe ndi ambiri akambapo nkhani ya worthiness, kuti ndege inali yokwanira kuti ikhoza kuuluka, andi ndakumvetsera bwino lomwe kuti ayi ndagwira zaka 30 chakuti ndege inali yabwino kwambiri, ndege iyi inalibe history iliyonse yokuti ikhoza kugwa. Ndiye ndiyambira pa page yanu ya presentation yanu, page 7, bullet number 32. Munditsimikiza kuti mukunena kuti ndege zanu zaboma kapena zanu za chisilikali sikubwera independent certifier, mmazipanga self certify noka. Point number 32. Ikuti right?
Thank you, Honorable. Yes, that is true.
Kusonyeza kuti nizothekaso kuti inu nomwe amene makoza noka, you are the director wa nkhani yokozakozayi, simungabwere nkuzanena kuti chinthuchi chinali cholondola ife kuti makoza ndinu, right?
Thank you, Honorable. We've got separate functions in the system. There are aircraft technicians, there are aircraft inspectors, and there are certifying staff.
Also, Abanga reported under Directorate Yagate.
Directorate of Maintenance.
Who is the director?
I was the director at that time. All the maintenance records for this aircraft are available.
Yeah, my record alipo. My record on Mabanga and the officers and Commandant without Popanda independent certifier. Obanga audit in Chitoyano. Muko zobwera nkunda noka bwinga I think apena baje padali pereka ola nyamadanga apadali pera. Certification ni mabanga yodi mabanga noka according to your own bullet in 32 year presentation yan.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Muko za unena kuti munali pera baje?
Aircraft maintenance, even in civil aviation, amabanga certify oka. It's only an aircraft certificate of airworthiness imene machitika annually, imene ma inspectors amabwera, but the whole of maintenance that is carried out within the organization is certified by the people in that organization. There is no difference. Thank you, Honorable.
If I read you have said the military organization assumes responsibility for ensuring that aircraft are maintained, operated in an airworthy condition through its own approved airworthiness management system. Your own system in minority it's approved worthiness system. You are military. See, George?
That's correct, Honorable.
Now, tipide ku page yanu yomweyo mukamaya nkhula kani yokudzana ndi page 4. Structural integrity of Donia 228 aircraft. Ndakuva ndimukubwereza kangapo mafusa amene anafusa I think azomba thondwe munanakambapo kuti ndege iyi ndi anyowani. Unyowani waje ndionera kuti chifukwa kuti mmene ankakoza kokupangako ku Germany imene munkagula 1988 dziko la Malawi imene odita uluka ma ola 29,600 komene makapanga ngozi inali itauluka maola 3,489. Sijoncho? Mwana joncho? Ndekuti unyowani wanu ukupanga based on the number of hours maola.
Thank you, Honorable. I think panali fusolina imene linafusidwa alofana ndilanulo I skipped sina yanke. Airframe ya ndege, that's the certified life of the aircraft. On the aircraft, there are some other components that make up the aircraft. Zimezi chazima karaso ndi moyo wao. These are, we call them life limited parts or time change items. These are replaced according to the schedule that is written down in the maintenance planning document. And that document is what I showed here. Aircraft airworthiness limitations. The airworthiness limitation item is what determines the airworthiness of an aircraft. Thank you, Honorable.
Kusonyeza kuti kupatula maola pali zinthu zina zimene zimapangitsa kuti ndege isakhale yanyowani ikuzikhala kuti zinthuzo sizinakwane maola acho amene anapangira ku factory ko koma chamba kale kutha chisanakwane ku maola ako tikozigwizana pamenepo.
Thank you, Honorable. In my language, sina use yanyuani, ndayuza airworthiness. Thank you, Honorable.
Airworthiness nchichewa ni chani? Tandiuze ni chichewa cha airworthiness.
Chichewa cha airworthiness ndo ndegeyo ndiyo kwanira kukauluka. That's airworthiness.
Because tikozigwizana kuti chinthu chokuti machisanzo galimoto yokuti izatha mwina ka 500,000 mileage ikhoza kupanga ngozi ili pa 10,000 mileage or ili less than 1,000 ikanena nyuwani zotheka ati
ziko mwambiri ndizotheka komano it depends ndi ngozi yake
koma ikhoza zotheka kuti galimoto ya nyuwani ukhaso ndi vuto limene la mabreki imene tikozanena kuti ili roadworthy kapena ikanali ya nyuwani sinafika kokutako koma mwina yapanga develop 40 ya mabreki mene munena kuti ndege yanu ndege imene inali ndi landing gear problem nthawi zambiri limene makonda kukoza you will still maintain and stand kuti it's still worth it.
Mwina sindikumva nifunso mutabwereza
galimoto ikanali ya nyuwani koma sinafika mileage yambiri koma ikuzikhala ndi vuto la mabreki nkupanga nayo ngozi or hydraulic oil wawo kuti onongekamu watamo ikhozopanga ngozi zotheka
ndizotheka
idakhala kuti ilibe hydraulic oil koma galimoto ndi ya nyuwani is it still roadworthy?
Ndizotheka yes.
Ikhabe roadworthy?
No, it's not roadworthy.
Ndege imene munena kuti inali ndi vuto kuti makozakoza landing gear from mnayankhula amene amayankha mafusafusa anafusa ya Catabe North, you still call it airworthy?
Yes, that's airworthy. The landing gear is servicing. What we are doing is servicing. There's a difference between servicing and fault rectification. That was servicing the landing gear. Chimodzimodzi mene material iniyo oil on galimoto mwanu or any other machine. What we are doing is ndakambaso kuti landing gear ya ndege mmalowa nitrogen ni hydraulic fluid. So what you are doing is replenish these things.
Mene mmasinta ADI. Munakamba za ADI. Et?
No, sinakambe za ADI.
Kusane naje nkhani kuzana ndi inafusidwa hapo nkhani ya ADI ndikumbukira. I think mina sino kuti inasintidwa I think 2 weeks before the accident. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I'm very aware.
Inyonga di director wa maintenance. ADI imene inali ya brand new kamena munajosa pandege.
It was a brand new ADI and the certificate of conformity is available. And the certificate of release it's available.
Inali brand ya mkozo ligaira so mwina chair flu chair kuti muti patsaso mkozo ligaira mbono wajone je?
Nizoteka as long as you make the request.
I'll go to your bulletin number page 8, abscess of impact ya fire. I think anaikamba boso azanga ina. Nagamba azomba city south. Kani ya moto wa kuti ndege idagwa. Ndaona kuti malongosora nkhani kuze na impact ndi kuti zimene khala motani fire triangle imene maika pa presentation yanu. Anthu ena amatero kuti mwina mafuta adaje pamo ena adapo pamo chifukwa je itagwa sida yake moto dzulo captain Nthani analongosola kuti ndimene mwalongosola ino apa pamo zanu zakhuza ndi ignition mechanism capable of igniting the spewed fuel. Are you trying to confirm kamena kugulizana nawo captain Nthani kuti mwina nkutheka mene makagwa ndege master switch was off?
That I wouldn't know.
Many magamba ignition or which ignition mechanism mwabanga lifa pa bullet number 38.
Ndege imakani ma generators amene amapanga generate electricity for the aircraft. That's the ignition source I was talking about. Thank you, Honorable.
Pomaliza, Madam Najoina, kusitikali 1990, 35 years. Page 52 ya BFU report. Iugamba pa nkani ya bullet 3.1.4. EOT built the flight manager Ngozija was no longer functioning for 20 years.
Yes, that's correct.
But
I was not an inspector at that time. I became an inspector in 2011.
2011 to 2024, 13 years, thereabouts. You were still working as an inspector there for 15 years. What role did you do to make sure that you replace this LT as the recommendation ya BFU was if you go on page 53, BFU safety recommendations is saying MDF and the Minister of Defense of the Republic of Malawi should ensure that the aircraft of Malawi Air Force transporting persons are equipped with a functional emergency locator transmitter AOT. You were there for 13 years as an inspector. What role did you play?
Talking about the recommendations by BFU, we sourced a quotation from a supplier to install that ALT. Up to now, that quotation is not honored.
When last did you source this? Do you remember the year? The last year you sourced the quotation for this?
2006. And another one has just been sourced last year. So after the BFU recommendation, and it hasn't been honored.
So, since 2006, your office or the MDF has only sourced a quotation last year, 2005. Correct?
That's correct. Let me continue. That's correct. But according to the certification of this aircraft, according to the airworthiness limitation of this aircraft, ALT is not mandatory. We have the documents.
No, as I'm documents is here, do you still stand by that? Because it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory. Because that is it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory. Looking at the importance of ALT, as an expert opinion, you can still stand because it's not mandatory.
An ALT is not mandatory.
That we agree. Keno, that we agree. Don't worry. I want you to give the answer which question I have asked you. If you want anything to explain, you can explain. But do you still stand with it's not mandatory? We agree. You're saying it's not mandatory according to conventions of whatever.
No. I think he's raising a valid point. He's raising a valid point. When I join, you knew one shiro yano safety. Inali number one ni kapena I.
Safety na number one honorable.
Ina number one. They are fuso. Maditsi migizira pano kuti aircraft imene inali fully maintained nthawi zonse. Ndizoona kapena I.
Ndizoona.
Koma ndichifukwa chani pa ntchito pano. Pamene mmagula ma spare parts andege ena ndi ena nkhani ya safety imene number one battery ya EOT bangi summagula tiwaliza mandatory koma inuyo mukuti safety kwa inuyo ina chinthu chofunikira number one ndakukufusani kuti chimene simmapanga prioritize battery ya EOT chinali chani
zoma kwambiri nabo apatu nkhani sinali battery nkhani inali kusintha system. The ELT that was installed on this aircraft was ELT-10, and this ELT-10 had become obsolete. We had to move to the new generation ELT, which is ELT-406. The whole system had to be overhauled, including the wiring. It's not only about the ELT battery. Thank you, Honorable.
Okay, so are you still maintaining, looking at the 10 June circumstances event, you would still say it's still not mandatory?
No, Honorable. If you can go through my presentation.
You need to find a different word, not mandatory. Kapena necessary.
Eroti ndiofunika. Ndichifukwa chake mutati muone munotsi mwangu mu presentation yanga. Tanena kuti management ya Air Force payoka, even though this is not a requirement for a military aircraft, payoka inaganizira pakufunikira kwa ALT. Ndi anakatenga quotation kuti yayi ALT ndiofunika, including flight data recorder, including cockpit voice recorder. Ma quotation anakatengedwa kuti especially Tango 03 being a VIP aircraft, tentike mozida zimenezi ndizofunikira. Ndege zinazi zinagulidwa for troop transportation, while T03 was specifically bought for VIP transportation, and anthu anaona requirement yoti zinthu zimenezi ziyenera kukhalamo, but the quotations were not honored, and ilo si vuto la Malawi Air Force, ndi vuto la Malawi government. Ndikoza kuuza ndege imeneyi anamugwisa ntchito kamuzu kupita kulikoma. Bakiri Muluzi has used this aircraft. Bingwa Mutharika has used this aircraft. Razas Chakwera has used this aircraft. So I'll say this. Nziko muno anthu amadziwa kugwiritsa ntchito chinthu, koma mukapititsa mavuto kuti tatithandizani ichi, palibe chimene chimabwerako. We know how to use these assets, but when it comes to funding, people back off. I don't know what is the problem, but that's the problem we've had. Nthawi imene zinthu zimayenda, ina not miswed. Ndi nthawi imene ndege zimene zizi mwina ainea kamene anagula kamuzu tinandi funding yabwino kwambiri. We even had a presidential aircraft, but after that the Air Force has been going down until now.
Tiri pa nkhani yomweyo. Mukunduza kuti a former president ndiye na onse ma president amene analipowa amadziwa kuti pakwera ndege imene iyi inalibe ELT ndi black box.
No, that I wouldn't know.
Ndi mungapange blame bwanji kuti boma sili magula zinthuzi pamene ndege inali ya VVIP. Ndi anthu a VVIP a vice president amakwera ndege imene, ma president amakwera ndege imene samadziwa kuti mulibe ELT, kuti akagwa ndege ikagwa sadziwa pamene ndege yagwera. Ngati pali zovuta anthu sadziwa, kuzapanga mic yanu pang'ono uzemise mic yanu. Anthu sadziwa kuti chimachitika ndi chani chifukwa marikoda mulibe. Ndege zinali za VVIP. Chinaukanika ndi chani kuti mupange system overhaul. System overhaul kuti ma president amene akwera ndege iyi apeze ndalama kuti umoyo wawo usakhale pa chiopsezo.
Thank you, Chair. Ifeyo ngati Malawi Air Force tili m'manja mwa MDF Joint Headquarters. Tikakatenga quotation timalembera ku MDF Headquarters. Ngati chinthu chonse chikuchitika timalemba marimainda. Koma pena anthu mafika potopa. Ife umeti ngapite ndi mavuto athu ndi ku MDF Headquarters. MDF Headquarters ndi amene amadziwa kopita nazo zinthuzo. Thank you, Chair.
Sonza munatopa. Tonse fere tikatopa anthu Malawi muno tusaja ati chakudya. Tikatopa kuti akutipempha zinthu, afuna chimanga, afuna madzi, magesi, kosonse zikhala bwino. Tisatope pa ntchito yathu ngati zinthu sizikuyenda. That's just my advice.
Chair, komalizira nkhani ya insurance ya ndege anafusa Chair, munadisi mungayankhe mwina alifuka Director of Logistics, koma you are able to say kuti ndege insurance nthawi yamapanga ngozi inayi itapanga expire.
Zimenezo ndizoona.
Do you remember when last it was insured?
No, I wouldn't remember. That responsibility lies with the Directorate of Logistics. Thank you, Honorable.
Chair, I think that's all from Dezagasina. Thank you so much, Ken.
Ndapaseko ncheyo nzozi sana yankulepo. And then, yeah, Agabanga, then my supplementary and Aburian Hayemotsi.
Thank you so much, Chair, for considering the people of Ncheuzo Zimvae to ask a question to Colonel Doka. Actually, I had the Mdokhwe. Actually, I had some questions, but it seems like it's been taken by Data Casina. But I can ask the last one. Colonel Mdokhwe, another witness told this committee that flying logbook was destroyed in the crash. Does your quality control sections maintain duplicate copies of technical logs, defects, histories, and quality assurance checklist? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. Yes, we do. But what happened in this case, when you are filling the flight log, it's filled in triplicate, and these are only filed upon the aircraft return to the airbase. In this case, the aircraft did not return to the airbase. Thank you, Honorable.
Which means you don't have any supporting document regarding the 10th June crash, right?
No, we don't have.
Mwanza Central and then Lilongwe Mude.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just two supplementaries. One is you mentioned something like altimeter. I just want to find out, did this plane have that function? Just to be sure.
Thank you, Mwanza Central. An altimeter is one of the basic instruments on an aircraft. It is what gives you the height above sea level. Thank you, Honorable.
Yeah, it's a basic requirement. I just want to know, was it functioning?
Yes, Honorable. The altimeter was functioning.
Okay, thank you very much. I think, Chair, we'll have to check on that one, because I've seen a write-up from one of the pilots recommending that the plane be fitted with an altimeter. I've got it here in the MDF report. So just take note, we need to verify that. And
Sorry, Honorable. An aircraft will not fly without a functioning altimeter. That's a no-go item. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you very much. Maybe it was an error from the one who reported. That's why I'm saying we'll have to verify with the one who submitted that document, because that's one of the recommendations from one of the pilots, that it is important to put that feature, or rather to work on that feature. So maybe we'll check as a committee what he meant. Last one, on the ADI, Colonel, I just want confirmation. You said it was a new ADI that was fitted.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much. That's all from me, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. It's really a clarity that I was seeking, and I think he has responded. Mwina, just to make sure that I'm getting it right, I asked this again yesterday to Keno Machande, and I think you have responded, but just to get it right. Munatumiza quotation yoti mukufuna black box ndiranga mchichewa, munafuna black box ndi akaka ka ierotika mu 2006. Mudapempha kuti izizi zikhalemo chifukwa choti ndege yomanyamulaso ma president. Ndekuyambira 2006 mutatumiza quotation simdayankhidwe, mwakhala mukumbutsa kwa zaka mwina ndeuti kaya tinene kuti nzaka zingati, koma kuyambira 2006 mpaka zimene zachitikazi kusonyeza kunena kuti manenanso kale kusonyeza kunena kuti mukunena kuti mmazifuna ndithu kuti izi zimuzike mu ndegemu koma chifukwa choti simunapatsidwe ndalama nchifukwa chake chinthucho sichidapangidwe ndi choncho
ndi momwe honorable for Lilongwe Mudi.
Zomba City, South, and then Zomba Tonde, are you going to comment?
Maybe just one.
Okay, because we need to wrap up now.
Thank you so much, Chairperson, for giving me another opportunity. No, Chairperson, just to agree with you that our Secretariat is doing some fact checking in case some things are not adding up. Therefore, nkhani tinayamba kumulonimba sija, I think yati chitiaso check kumaso expert wa meteorology atipeza because enafe geography tinapanga kalekale taiwala komabe zimene makumbukira zochepazo akuti kumulonimbasi ndi rain cloud ndikwathu kunovula zimakhala pakati pa November ndi April ndezimativuta zulo kuti tiyafusa bwanja captain kuti mtambo umwe unachokera kuti komaso tikuziwa kuti weather radar mene munanenera mtambo utu ndi moisture kwambiri umachita piki kusonyeza kuti weather radar mtambo umenewo ilatha kuona munathawa funso limenelo komabe chilungamo ndi chimenecho komabe metanenera munatipemphabe madolo a meteorology kuti azati yankhule zulo zinavuta kuti tiyankhule nkhani imene tukhulupirira kuti acheya atipezera akabwera meteorology expert atiyankha china ndimafunanso kukheneo tinafunsa kale zokhuzana ndi nkhani ya mafuta ija pepani kuti tikubwereranso munanena kuti atachita assess anzathu aku BFU ku Germany panel ija anaona kuti light imene inachita illuminate munatero ere
sinatero
timafunsa muna mongo kumbusani kuti panel ikugwira ntchito munanena it was functional ndende nazafunsa kuti itakhala kuti mafuta athamo kuti angaziwe bwanji kuti mafuta anatha chikhozo kachi nayaka nthawi imeneja nasichikugwira ntchito kumano ngozi yachitika madolo aja kuona chimenechi angaziwe bwanji kungoona chimashinicho kuti mafuta anatha ndenga ndikumbukira bwino munanena kuti light yakeyo atayesa anaona kuti inachita sinachite illuminate mini kuti mafuta sanathe sichoncho
ndi momwe honorable
sinachite illuminate ndeni mafuna be mwinapoti mulibe report ya BFU mwina mukabwerera mukatichitire cheki nkhani imeneyi ili pa page 43 apapa mwinapoti is unfair to you chifukwa nkhani apa kunena kuti may have illuminated ndiye mwina tikachite cheki tikabwerera ku Zomba andiso secretary mwina tichiteso find out nakasiya Malawi kumvesera ndiye tikhoza mwina kuchita mislead mtundu.
Can you say again, Honorable? What does it? Can you read the paragraph? Read the paragraph.
Chair, thank you so much. Akulemba kuti on page 43, technical aspects. The second theoretical possibility is that for some or all of the 8 display fields, the light may have been illuminated. Ndiye may have been illuminated ikuzokhala kuti mena kuganizira madolo kuti kuzokhala nayaka kapena somuna sina yake may have ndiye muja munayankhira muja ndinaona kuti ichi sichikuyankha funso limene ndinafunsa then mafuna kuti muna mukabwerera mukachite cheki pena munatiwonera zimenezi komanso secretariat itichiteso confirm kuti zimene tikuyankhula muno zindizoona.
Thank you, Honorable. Can you read the whole paragraph? Not just one statement. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. The second theoretical possibility is that for some or all of the 8...
No.
The whole paragraph is
that is a conclusion from another paragraph.
No, I think that's why we are saying maybe you need to have the document in front of you, because this is 2.1.2 technical aspects. So there's a first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph. Mafuna ndiambire pati? I should start from the top. Examination of the light bulbs of the warning and caution panel retrieved from the cockpit revealed no evidence of any technical malfunction. We are together there. The fact that 14 light bulbs were missing in the panel, which was damaged during impact of the aircraft, opens a few theoretical scenarios. We are together. No light bulbs were found in 8 display fields after the accident. The theoretical possibility that one or more of those 8 display fields had no light bulbs before the accident is very unlikely. On the one hand, the malfunction of the indicator lights had to be checked on every flight before starting the engines. The pilots as well as the engineer flying with them would have noticed if the indicator lights were missing or inoperative. On the other hand, according to the maintenance staff and the flying staff of the squadron, the aircraft was in good technical condition. In addition, no technical defects were described at any time before or after the flights of the day of the accident or the day before the telephone conversations with the airbase personnel.
No, I get the point. Honorable, I can explain. Thank you, Honorable.
May have illuminated ija. Kuma, you can proceed. You can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable. The master warning panel for the aircraft is a standard warning panel. And Dornier aircraft are fitted with different systems. A Dornier in Kenya might have a system which a Dornier in Malawi doesn't have. So the warning panel in Malawi would have spaces where they are not required for the Dornier in Malawi. And these positions will have no bulbs. Only the necessary systems that have to show the warning are fitted with bulbs. I hope I've made myself clear.
Are you done?
Yes, Honorable. Thank you.
So you said only the necessary systems may have been fitted with bulbs. Does that include the fuel system?
Very correct, because every aircraft has got a fuel system.
So I wanted you to tell me from where I was reading, because you answered to say it did not illuminate, meaning the fuel was still in the tank.
Yes.
So I was reading here. I wanted you to tell me where you read that.
Examination of the light bulbs or warning panel and panel retrieved from the cockpit revealed no evidence of any technical malfunction. These were the bulbs that were fitted on the systems that applied to this particular aircraft. The systems that did not apply to this system, to this aircraft, had no bulbs.
Chair, I think imuna tizisiye pomwepo because tinanena anatiyankha kunena kuti BFU inachita analyze and the bulb did not illuminate. So zukanga tizavuta kuti atisonyeze apa. That's why I was referring to Secretary to check that fact, because here I can't find it. So maybe you can rest it there. Moving on, Chair. Finally, EOT taikamba nthawi itali, and I was surprised kuti yabweranso. But since you are the engineer, I think I should also join the team. The EOT kamashini kachi kanali in off position kunsi kumene kamakhala. In the cockpit, it was on ARM position, if I'm not mistaken. Can you confirm?
That's correct.
So you have told us that this machine was obsolete, meaning kuti munasema gwira ntchito. Is that the case?
That's correct.
Now it was found to be in off position. Chinthu si chimagwira ntchito. We were asking yesterday, kuti why was it in the off position? Because putting in the off position, it meant kuti maybe as military, you are saying kuti kakakhala muna ku arm position tikagwa. In case it has happened, amaliwo ngwati wona. Why was this obsolete machine in off position?
Thank you, Honorable. The recommendation from the Master Minimum Equipment List is that if the ELT is not functioning, you have to put the arm switch on off so that everybody knows that this equipment is not working. Thank you, Honorable.
When you say everybody, include the pilots, because this is not in the panel, in the cockpit. In the cockpit, if I'm reading properly here, it was in arm position. So meaning, if before you answer, where these pilots are aware that ngakhala patikaika pa arm, kusiku, ka machine kenikeniko, kalim off position, were they aware? Thank you.
Honorable Minister, the pilots were aware. The pilots before the...
Honorable Member.
Sorry. Honorable Member, before the pilots accept the aircraft, they do a pre-flight inspection. And even at the airport, when they are firing a flight plan, they declare whether the aircraft has got an ELT or not. And these pilots declared that the aircraft had no ELT. Thank you, Honorable.
Kozamaliza?
Yeah, I think as we wind up, Nwafuna Beguri Chair, just to stress, we may still need to close the nkhani ya materials amene ukamba, mwina we need the facts. Chifoti, tikang'anira investigation imene tikupanga lifa kwambiri ya BFU, analemba clear kuti munibe analysis ya weather, despite having geographical pictures za flight route. So mwina tingopanga stress kuti mutithandizire chair tipeze anzathu a weather. And mwina as we refer to the BFU, we should be mindful of the fact that we don't have any reference on the weather. I think that may have to be on the record. And that maybe let's stay for now. Thank you.
No, nathokoza kwambiri khona tacheza bwino. Tina cheza hapo ndi former Minister of Defense Honorable Haren Kandawire. Tina fosa funso kuti inuyo ku Defense Council kuti mumalandira ma safety audits ndi ananatai ma safety audits siti malandira kukuzi kunalibe nde poti ndino katswiri wa safety timafuna muduuze kuti inuyo ndegezi mazipanga audit mbali ya safety nanga ngati mukapanga audit maripoti anu amapita kuti.
Thank you very much, Chair. My safety audit amachitika. And the reporting channel yatu from the air base, the reports go to Malawi Air Force headquarters. Thank you, Chair.
Kusonza kuti pali disconnect. Pali gap. The Defense Council, ndizimene zochitika cooperation. Chikhala kuti aku Defense Council amalandira ma safety audit akanadziwa zimene zimasowekera mu ndege. De mwina simbali yanu, inu mbali yanu mmachita, ma audit mmapereka. Kuma ku Defense Council, zoti kumakhala ma safety audits, a former minister anazoti ayi, sanalandirepo. Chikhala kuti ma audit akuchitika, ndoti akanatha kudziwa kuti ma ELT akufunika, ma battery akuchitika, ma safety sali bwino. Nde mwina part of our, ndikuna zizi tikatu upanga ma recommendations. Kwa zinthu zofunikira ku Defense Council, kuti akamakumana pa agenda, safety ya ndege izikhala yenerera kuti asilikali athu akamapita ku nkhondo safety yawo ikhale number 1 even ma VVIP akamakwera ndege safety ikhale number 1 nde ndathokoza kuti mwatiyankha mbali imeneyo. ndikuthokozeni kuti tacheza nanu nthawi yayitali matiyankha mafunso ena ndi ena. Mwina kapena muli ndi mawu omalizira?
Zikomo kwambiri chair, zikomo kwambiri members of the committee. Ine ndifuna ndithokoze pondiyitana kuti nzaperekere umboni pa ngozi imene inachitika ya ndege. Inali ngozi yomvetsa chisoni, simayenera kuchitika, koma inachitika. Ndingopempha mizimu ya anthu amene anatisiya kuti iwuse mumtendere. I've got a few remarks that I want to add also. Aircraft accident investigation is a specialized field. For one to become an investigator, he has to undergo specialized training to understand the tenets of aircraft accident investigation. I feel this committee needs the support of such a person. Secondly, the committee's mandate is very important. However, the technical findings should distinguish between military and civil aviation. Military and civil aviation law are different. Otherwise, the final report may have inaccurate conclusions. I submit. Thank you, Chair.
Ndathokoza kwambiri. Ambuya khale nanu. Tidzokumana. Zikomo kwambiri.